Hi everyone and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about S-Class. Now S-Class is currently the Open Series event and I'm going to give you 3 cars and builds that you can use this week and be fairly competitive. So we're going to start with, as per usual, a fan favourite. You see this a lot in S-Class. It's the 1979 BMW number 6 M1 Procar. Now there isn't too many parts you can install on this, but we'll start from right to left as normal. And in aero and appearance, we've got the race front bumper, stock driveline, we've got stock rim size on the front and a 17-inch rim size on the rear. And we've got these HRE 501s. I just thought they were very retro and suited this car actually. Then in tyres, we've got the race tyre compound for that grip, and we've got a 300mm front tyre width and a 355mm rear tyre width. In platform and handling, we've got race brakes, no ballast, and a stock restrictor plate. That should bang you in S800. Now, let's get into the tune. So, starting with tyre pressures, we've got 26.5 psi front and 26.5 psi on the rear. In gearing, we've got a 6.10 final drive with a 1.60 first, and these are the other gears, not going to go into every single gear. Feel free to change. We've got the alignment at negative 1.6 front camber and negative 1.1 rear camber. We've got 0 toes and a 7 degree of caster angle. Anti-roll bars 16.96 on the front and 9.95 on the rear. There was a lot of mid-corner oversteer due to the excessive front downforce compared to the rear, so that just helps eradicate that. In springs, we've got 425.3 pounds on the front and 525.8 pounds on the rear. The ride height is at the minimum, 4 inches on the front and 5.4 on the rear. Bump stiffness, we've got 2.7 on the front and 3.1 bump stiffness for the rear, with a front rebound at 10.3 and the rear rebound is at 11.1. Over to suspension geometry, we've got the front roll centre at 4.7 inches and the rear at 3.1 inches. And we've got 25.3 anti-dive and 35.1 anti-squat. Aero, we've got the front at 276 pounds, which is what I mentioned earlier about it being quite high, and the rear is at 358. In brakes, the balance is at 50% and the braking force pressure is at 150%. Feel free to change if you want. And the acceleration is at 100% and the deceleration is at 12%. This is a car you can't really go wrong in. It's a really good car, super stable, very grippy, and sometimes you may need to just top up the top speed slightly, alter that final drive or the last gear to keep you competitive down the straights. Right then boys, car number 2, the 2015 Koenigsegg One of One. Let's hop into this bad boy. This is a P-Class car, usually, but I've knocked her down a few, and I'm not going to lie, she's fairly decent. So we're going to start with conversions. We're going to put the 3.8 litre V6 turbocharged engine in. It's a bit offensive coming from what it was, the 5.1 litre V8, but needs must. Drivetrain, we've left stock. In aero and appearance, all stock, because it already has the front bumper and the wing installed. So stock rear bumper and stock hood. In drivetrain, we've got a stock clutch with a race transmission and a race differential. Wheels, the rim size is stock, 19 on the front, 20 on the rear. And we've got the LTC-704s. I think these are the heaviest wheels in the game. I've got these, they're foul looking, but they get the car in S-Class. Tyre compound, we've got the race tyre compound with a 265mm front tyre width and a 345mm rear tyre width, so stock tyre widths. Platform and handling, for some reason this car doesn't come with race suspension, but we've installed the race suspension anyway. The front and rear race anti-roll bars are installed, a stock weight reduction, stock roll cage and no ballast. And in engine, everything is completely stock. Likewise is fuel and air. So with those parts all installed, let's get into the tune, and we're going to start with the tyre pressures at 32 psi for the front and 34 psi for the rear. In gearing, these are the ratios that I've opted for, 6-10 final drive as per usual, and these or each individual gearing. Feel free to chop and change. And in alignment, we've got -1.6 front camber and a -1.2 rear camber, 0.0 front and rear toe, and a front caster angle at 7.0 degrees. In anti-roll bars, we've got 18.79 on the front and 26.72 on the rear. A lot of grip coming out of corners. This helps rotate that car on corner exit. Springs, quite stiff. We've got 750.4 pounds on the front and 850.4 pounds on the rear. Really good balance, worked well for me. Feel free to adjust these slightly as well if you want, maybe 2.8 and 4 if you feel like it bottoms out, but I think it's alright and it's controllable. So yeah, I went for 2.6 and 3.8 inches ride height. Bump stiffness, we've got 4.7 on the front and 5.0 on the rear. Rebound stiffness is at 9.5 and the rear rebound is at 10.8. In roll center, we've got 5.1 inches on the front and 5.9 inches on the rear. Again, it just aids with that rotation on corner exit. The anti-dive's at 20.4% and the anti-squat is at 25%. The aerodynamics are all maxed out, 413 pounds on the front and 689 pounds on the rear. Very good around tracks like Maple Valley, Virginia, things like that. But if you want to adjust it, feel free. But this worked well for me and how I was using this car. So in brakes, we've got the balance at 50% and the pressure at 150%. And the acceleration is at 100% and the deceleration is at 10%. Give this car a go, boys. It's a real surprising car. I didn't think it'd be that good in S-Class, but it held its own and it did do some good numbers for me. 10 out of 10, I do recommend it. Now, on to the third and final car. The third and final car then, boys, is the 2019 Zenvo TSR-S. This is the car that waves at you when you corner. Try it and you'll find out why. The rear spoiler on this is on hydraulic, so as you turn, it actually rotates the wing. It's quite funny, to be fair. Let's get into the car and see what we've done to it. So we're going to start with conversions, and we put the horrible 3.8 litre V6 turbocharged engine in, and the drivetrain is on stock. The aero and appearance, can't touch the wing, but the front bumper is on race. Drivetrain, we've got a race transmission with a race differential. In wheels, I've left the front rim size stock, but just stuck on the ADV Forzas. In tyres, we've got a race tyre compound with a stock front tyre width at 245mm and a stock rear tyre width at 325mm. In platform and handling, this has race springs already installed, so we can't install them. We've got a race weight reduction, no roll cage and no ballast. In engine, everything is completely stock, but we have installed the sports flywheel. And in fuel and air, we've got a sports exhaust and a sports filter. So they're all your parts for the Zenvo. Let's now get into the build. So we're going to start with tyre pressures. We've got 33 psi front, 33.5 psi on the rear. These are the final drive and the gear ratios, 610 final drive, and these are the individual gearing. Feel free to change if you want more speed or acceleration. Alignment, -1.5 on the front and -1.0 camber on the rear. We've got 0 toe front and rear and a 7.0 degree caster. Anti-roll bars, again stiffer on the rear. We've got 18.47 on the front and 26.44 on the rear. Springs, we've got 753.7 pounds on the front and 875.4 pounds on the rear. Ride height is at 3.6 and 4.2. This one did bottom out quite a bit, so that's the reason why I've increased this. But feel free if you want to run it at 3.3 and 3.9, but 3.642 worked well for me. In damping, we've got 4.3 on the front bump stiffness and a 4.9 bump stiffness for the rear. Rebound stiffness, the front's at 7.9 and the rear is at 10.3. The roll center, we've got a 5.5 inch front roll center and a 6.3 inch rear roll center, again just aids with that rotation. And in anti-geometry, we've got anti-dive at 35.3% and the anti-squat at 20.2%. The downforce is at 293 pounds on the front and 503 pounds on the rear. A lot of downforce from that rear wing, so I've knocked it down considerably. It'll give you a bit more top speed and acceleration as well, but it does aid with that rotation mid-corner. In braking balance, we got 50% and the pressure's at 150%. and the acceleration is at 100% and the deceleration is at 10%. So boys, I'm hoping you enjoyed this video. If you're still here, drop me a thumbs up and leave a comment, would be appreciated. And if you do want to join the Discord, the link is in the description. And as always, take care of yourselves and stay tuned for more.